Okay, this person said, is it hard to get sales? Like, what if you are not a good salesperson? So, to answer the first question, is it hard to get sales? I think, because I thought this too, I thought tech sales was a matter of me having to close deals, like introduce the product to a business, sell the product to the business. That's how I get paid, or that's like my job description. It's like, not if you're when you get the entry level position, like, and you're a business development representative, sales development representative, like, your job is not to close the deal. Your job is to fish for the person. And once you qualify them as a potential buyer, you pass them to your AE, your account executive. And then obviously, because you're the one that brought them in, or actually like introduced them to the product, whether you sent them an email, talked to, the company, the business you're trying to sell to, like you talk to them on the phone. You want to kind of follow, like, as your account executive is working with that person, doing the demo and all of that stuff, like, you just kind of stay tapped into that process, because you do get commission off of it if it does close. But your job, even to hit OTE, your on target earnings, like, it is not about closing a deal. Like, you hitting OTE is directly tied to you just giving good leads, qualified leads, to your account executive. And then obviously, this is a salary job, so you're getting paid regardless. But as far as hitting your target, that's just how many people, if you're supposed to pass 10 qualified leads to your AE in a month, then that is how you get paid your on target earnings check. So salary's coming in regardless. You get paid OTE. If the deal closes, which has nothing to do with you, you've passed the baton at this point, then yes, you are getting commission off of that sale. And then to answer your second question, what if you are not a good salesperson? So the thing about working in tech sales, or just sales period, is that you don't have to be a great seller. Like, it's really just about the skills and the strategy. And that's what we learned in the course that I took through Course Careers. Like, they had us read Spin Selling, they had us read How to Win Friends and Influence People, and it's more about not or about building relationships, like, not necessarily being like, you know how to smooth talk somebody and, like, get them to want to buy. It's like, no, it's just strategy. And so I wanted to give like this analogy with this TV, my TV in the back. So when I got this mounted, the guy, he showed up by himself from Best Buy to mount this TV. And he came by himself. So I was sitting there like, how is he gonna do this? And so it was funny because he ended up, doing this technique where he like picked up the TV and had it like, I don't know how he had it. I can't show you. But point being is that I ended up joking with him afterwards. I was just like, what's crazy? I was like, I didn't think you were gonna be able to lift that TV by yourself. Like, I was really curious on how you were gonna do this. And I just kind of made a joke saying I wouldn't be able to do that. And he was just like, oh, you'd be surprised that there are women who can do this. He was like, you're thinking strength. He was like, but it's not really about the weight of the TV, or, if it's heavy. He said it's really about learning the strategy on how to lift it. And so I told him, I was just like, oh, that's crazy. It makes me think of like what somebody had said recently to me about like karate or jujitsu, or I forget what the actual sport was, but they were saying like, oh, it's not about being stronger than your opponent. It's about your technique, and your skills that you learn in strategy, and that's how you would, take somebody down. And so I just see a parallel with this. It's like, it's not necessarily about being a great seller, but it's about learning the skills. And those readings that we had to do, they just kind of taught you what those skills were. Because even for me, I wasn't coming from a sales background, so I had the same concern. I was like, am I going to be able to do this? This is tech sales, selling technology to other businesses. And I ain't never did sales. Like, why would a company even think to hire me and take me serious? Like, if I'm not a good seller, or they'll hire me and I just won't do well, like one or the other. But I was thinking I had to be a good seller. But once I learned the strategy, and got the coaching on just the art of asking questions and, just having discernment, figuring out like what is a company's needs? What does your product solve for? And just, it's other little things that have nothing to do with you being like just a smooth talker and knowing how to sell stuff to people because you're just so clever. It's like, no, there's just strategy. Just follow the blueprint and make it your own. Get comfortable, get confident, and yeah, you'll be just fine. So I would say not to shy away from tech sales because of the sales aspect. If you just are assuming you're not a good seller, I would say to kind of press in and just gather the information first. Like, look into what I'm talking about as far as sales and how it really is about strategy, and then make your decision to be like, yeah, even with that strategy, no, I don't want to do that either. Or maybe you feel like that's too much for you, but coming from my personal experience, I would say it was like almost funny that I thought I wouldn't be able to do the job at first because I thought too I wasn't good at sales, and realized, like I said, it's about the strategy.